Right, the dark side of CAB3, 7 provisions they do not want you to know. Right, Zimbabwe, triple pamzindo wevanhu panapa. So for months, the CAB3 debate has been dominated by one number, 2030. ED stays until 2030, Mnangagwa grabs 2 extra years, term limits extended, referendum avoided. And while everyone has been arguing about that one number, 7 other things have been quietly hiding inside this bill. 7 provisions that have nothing to do with Emerson Mnangagwa's personal term. 7 changes that will outlast him, outlast Chiwenga, outlast whoever comes next. 7 dark provisions that will change Zimbabwe permanently, and almost nobody is talking about them. Right now, Zimbabwe, we are about to get into it. Right. This is the dark side of CAB3. And by the end of this video, you will never look at this bill the same way again. Right? Dark provision 1. Your vote for president gone forever. I know you heard this, but you never heard it this way. This is the one everyone knows. But do they know how permanent it is? CAB3 abolishes the direct popular election of the president and transfers that power to a joint sitting of parliament, meaning MPs elect the head of state, not ordinary citizens. Under the 2013 constitution, the 3.5 million Zimbabweans voted for. You walk into a polling booth and choose your president, your vote, your voice, your country. Under CAB3, you never do that again. Right, the Catholic bishops said this clause must be withdrawn, arguing that the direct election of the president is central to the principle that executive authority derives from the people. Transferring that choice from citizens to parliament would fundamentally alter the source and character of executive legitimacy. And here is what Shinamasa admitted on Citizens Voice Network. It is significantly cheaper to influence a few hundred MPs than to reach 16 million voters. That is not a side effect of this provision. That is its entire purpose. They are not removing your vote because it is inefficient. They are removing it because they cannot control it. Zimbabwe. Right, and a dark provision number 2, the gender commission scrapped. CAB3 repeals the Zimbabwe Gender Commission, the independent institution specifically mandated to protect women's rights, and transfers its functions to the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. ICT Minister Tatenda Mavetera publicly opposed this inside cabinet. She said the Gender Commission should be strengthened, not abolished. Women Affairs Minister Monica Mchangwa also did not support weakening gender-focused institutions. 2 cabinet ministers in Mnangagwa's own government opposing their own government's bill publicly. And the bill is still moving forward. The Gender Commission was created because Zimbabwe's human rights challenges affecting women are specific, documented, and require dedicated institutional attention. Folding it into a general human rights body does not protect women better. It buries women's issues under a broader mandate with less resources, less focus, and less accountability. This is not a budget saving. This is a rights reduction dressed up as administrative efficiency. Dark. Right, let's go to dark provision number 3. The National Peace Commission abolished. CAB3 also repeals the National Peace and Reconciliation Commission, the body established specifically to address Zimbabwe's unresolved historical wounds, including Gukura Wound. The NPRC was designed to be the institutional space where 20,000 deaths in Matabeleland could finally receive formal acknowledgement, documentation, and reconciliation processes. It was underfunded, underempowered, but it existed. It was a constitutional commitment to the people of Matabeleland that their suffering would not be permanently erased. CAB3 erases it from the constitution permanently. And General Swanda, the Zipra veteran just appointed to the Politburo, comes from Matabeleland, the region whose historical commission is being abolished by the bill his appointment was supposed to make people feel better about. The audacity of the gesture is unmatched only by the cruelty of the fine print. It's only matched by the cruelty of the fine print. Right. Dark provision 4. The voters' roll moves to the Registrar General. CAB3 transfers voter registration functions from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, an independent constitutional body, to the Registrar General's office, a direct presidential appointee. Zviko zvatoichitigwa izvi. Ende rimwe zimuro ichibudikira ichiti yes, CAB3. Zvoshamisa. The voters' roll, the list of who can vote, moved from an independent commission to a government official who serves at the president's pleasure, who gets registered, who gets removed, who appears on the roll on election day, all of it under the control of an office that the president appoints and can dismiss. This is not electoral administration reform. This is electoral administration capture. Dark provision number 5. Judicial appointments, executive control tightened. CAB3 contains provisions affecting judicial appointments that the Catholic bishops said risk shifting the judiciary away from independence and towards greater executive control. Under CAB3, public interviews for judges would be abolished, removing the one transparency mechanism that gave Zimbabweans a window into who was being appointed to their courts and why. No public interviews, judges appointed in closed processes by a president who has already demonstrated through the Malaba era exactly what kind of judicial capture he prefers. What kind of culture of judicial he prefers. It's a capture. We just spent 9 years watching what happens when Zimbabwe's judiciary loses its independence. We watched Malaba chair a bench that ruled against every serious political challenge to the executive. We watched bail become unavailable for opposition figures. We watched the judges submit draft rulings for Chief Justice approval before reading them aloud. And CAB3 wants to make the appointment process that produced all of that even less transparent. Dark provision number 6. 10 new presidential Senate appointments. Zimbabwe. CAB3 enlarges the Senate with 10 additional members directly appointed by the president. 10 more votes in the upper house appointed by one man with no electoral accountability to any constituents, arriving to vote on legislation that their appointer once passed. Parliament is already ZANU-PF dominated right now. The Senate is already ZANU-PF dominated, and CAB3 wants to add 10 more presidential loyalists on top of that. This is not parliamentary representation. This is stacking the deck. Zimbabwe. The dark provision number 7. The notwithstanding clause, a constitutional nuclear weapon. And here, family, is the darkest provision of all. The one buried in legal language that most people scroll past. The Law Society of Zimbabwe found that the drafters of CAB3 inserted a notwithstanding provision into clause 4, subsection 2A, specifically designed to override section 328, subsection 7 of the Constitution, which bars term limit amendments from benefiting sitting office holders without a referendum. In plain English, the Constitution says you cannot change term limits to benefit the current president without asking the people. So CAB3 inserted a clause that says, notwithstanding what the Constitution says, we are doing it anyway. A constitutional amendment that overrides the constitutional protection against that exact type of amendment without a referendum. The LSZ said, the Law Society of Zimbabwe said, if clauses 4, 9, and 10 of CAB3 are adopted without a referendum, their adoption will be inconsistent with the Constitution and international law, specifically Zimbabwe's obligations under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the African Charter on Democracy. The Constitution says no, The lawyers says no. The international treaties say no. The bishops say no. The war veterans are in court saying no. The retired generals are on X saying no. And CAB3 inserted a notwithstanding clause and said yes anyway. The bottom line, this is not about 2030. Family, CAB3 is not about giving one man 2 more years. CAB3 is about removing your vote permanently, abolishing the Gender Commission, erasing the Peace Commission, capturing the voters' roll, closing judicial appointments, stacking the Senate, and inserting a legal mechanism that overrides the Constitution's own protection against exactly this kind of abuse. ZAP President Sibangilizwe Nkomo said it most clearly. CAB3 erodes the founding promise of the liberation struggle. One man, one vote. The liberation war was fought for the right to vote, to choose your own leaders, to be free from a system where a small minority made all the decisions for a silenced majority. CAB3 rebuilds that system with different faces at the top. That is the dark side of CAB3, and now you know it. Mrezi baba, subscribe pa mzinda wevano. The Mtapa Times, kana uchituona uri pa YouTube, kana uchituona uri pa Facebook, Inside Africa Network. Zimbabwe's most fearless political voice. Right? Which dark provision shocked you most? Drop your take in the comments, smash the like button, share this everywhere, and support independent journalism through join and super thanks and stars. Zimbabwe's constitution belongs to its people, not to a bill. Peace.